It's been quite a while, or at least it seems that way. I can't remember another video game like this coming around in a couple of months at this point in time, but 2024 was festoon with them. Okay, you had your Dustborns, you had your Dragon Age Veilguards. I guess probably the one that comes closest this year is kind of Assassin's Creed Shadows, but that was just bad and it kind of disappeared in about a couple of days. But no. We got one that's on the horizon right here, and this one might take the cake as being I don't know, man. Dustborn's pretty close though, but at least for 2025, this one's probably it's probably the worst of them all. Okay, Microsoft finances Take Us North, a video game that glorifies illegal U.S. border crossing. I beg your pardon, and yeah, Elon Musk and a lot of other people have already called this out. Elon will call it weird, but I'll just call it exactly what it is. Propaganda from activist video game developers, and you wonder why they're all going out of business, and you wonder why nobody is gonna shed a tear when this and the rest of those studios get shut down. Microsoft is once again dipping into politics, and this time it's raising eyebrows worldwide. The tech giant is funding a video game called Take Us North, developed by Amina Interactive. That name sounds sort of familiar. It puts the players in the role of Guia, okay, essentially a coyote tasked with leading migrants illegally across the United States and Mexico border. Now here's the thing, like there's been immigration games before, contentious issue games before. Papers, Please immediately comes to mind. And hell, one of the bigger indie games from this year, Schedule 1, depicted you growing your drug empire. So it's like, yeah, okay, you want to have a, human trafficking game. It's kind of ballsy, but you can do it. It's just, yeah, this isn't presenting this in a neutral tone, or it's also not, calling out the illegal practice of this. It's simply coming at this as a patent and full-throated endorsement. Amina Interactive bills itself as a socially conscious game studio that wants to expand perspectives and drive positive cultural impact. Their flagship project, Take Us North, is a survival narrative game. It's always this shit with the same shitty fucking graphics, the preachy characters and dialogue. And you just wonder how this stuff keeps on happening. Well, because they have investor money and activist donations keeping this stuff afloat. Well, that and a heaping helping of taxpayer money as well. But we'll get to a lot of the funding behind this in a second. Their flagship project, Yes, Take Us North, allows players to guide groups of migrants through deserts, fences, and hostile landscapes. Again, it could be fun. It's just we know what you're doing here. According to coverage from Wired, Spectrum Local News, and the studio's own Kickstarter, the game is meant to highlight the humanity and resilience of migrants. It draws inspiration from interviews with people who cross borders in Latin America, Africa, and the Middle East, aiming to create what the studio calls an empathy machine. Fuck off. In practice, this means the player essentially becomes a coyote, the very term used in real life for human smugglers who guide in reality traffic, yes, migrants across dangerous terrain, often working hand in hand with cartels, exactly, in very, very, very inhumane conditions, and as a result ends up far too many people dead or far too many cartel agents in their destination country. The project received early stage funding and support from Microsoft's ID at Xbox Developer Acceleration Program. So yes, not specifically a Microsoft Studios development house, but they have a loose affiliation with the big M. Yes, a funding initiative that helps independent studios bring their games to market. The studio has also launched a Kickstarter campaign raising tens of thousands of dollars to keep development going. So that's a Microsoft money that is tied to a project that has sparked serious backlash, and that's not the only amount of money that's out there, because Take Us North, a legal immigration game, reportedly has connections to the United Nations. Interesting. Sweet Baby Inc. Oh boy, that's been a long time since we've heard that name. And Wings Interactive. Oh yeah, ditto for that. Illegal border crossing simulator Take Us North has been exposed for having connections to Sweet Baby Inc., Wings Interactive, and even the United Nations itself. If you thought Microsoft funding a game glorifying coyotes and illegal border crossings was bad, well, you ain't seen nothing yet. So yes, first and foremost, Wings Interactive, the shadowy funding group, vanished from the public eye after, yes, Master of the TDS and Gothic Therapy. We looked at a lot of their work. I think that was at the tail end of last year, maybe at the beginning of this year. It's been a minute, but they've exposed them as a shell game of activist investors trying to throw their weight around and fundamentally change the gaming industry. They haven't exactly been that successful, but they spent a lot of money and created a lot of slop products. But yes, is bankrolling obscure titles that pushed activist messaging while pulling in suspiciously high funding totals. So according to Gothic Therapy, Wings co-founder Audrey LaPrince personally promoted the project. Wings didn't just nod at the game, they endorsed it and helped pipeline it into an indie festival circuit. Wings doesn't operate like a normal publisher. It functions as a grant body, distributing large sums, often up to $500,000, into games that rarely attract more than a few hundred players. Yes, because its Kickstarter got allegedly tens of thousands of dollars, but then, you know, when you get one of these activist firms involved, then you end up funneling in hundreds of thousands of dollars, even though you end up selling, if you're lucky, hundreds of copies of the game. So you wonder why all of these types of games continue to pop up? Because they're exceptionally profitable. Not for the amount of units they're going to sell, to the individual developers that are just trying to make the world a better place, and they're going to do that one-lined pocket at a time. But Wings' connection to Sweet Baby Inc. is well documented. Sweet Baby Inc. co-founder Kim Belair, yes, served on the board for Wings, directly linking the two. Sweet Baby Inc., yes, infamously inserted identity politics into games like Spooderman 2, Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, and God of War Ragnarok, yes. Race swapping Angraboda, but thank God that was the only thing that they did, has been, yes, accused of turning video games into a vehicle for ideological messaging. And there's one of the many connections with Kim Belair, Sweet Baby Inc. right there in a tweet from Wings. If you know, you know. But okay, Clever Endeavor Games. This is a new one, okay? Has also poured money in to take us north. Conveniently, Clever Endeavor bankrolls Wings 2025 Elevate program, the same program designed to push marginalized voices in the gaming spotlight. So long story short, on the paper trail here, Microsoft bankrolls Amina Interactive through ID at Xbox. Wings Interactive endorses and promotes the games. Clever Endeavor provides additional financial backing while sustaining Wings itself. Yeah, it's money laundering at its finest. And speaking of money laundering, the United Nations gets involved. And here's, yes, where it gets explosive. It was reportedly presented at the United Nations under the codename American Dream just 9 months ago. What? Okay. A video game that allows players to roleplay as coyotes smuggling migrants illegally across the U.S. border was put on stage at the very institution charged with upholding international law and promoting stability across nations. But then again, you know, the United Nations also invited Zoe Quinn, Brianna Wu, and Anita Sarkeesian to speak on Gamergate, so I'm not terribly shocked that the United Nations would endorse something so fundamentally destructive, not just to gaming, but to the sanctity of national borders. This is where things, okay, because unless you're really paying attention to this stuff, this game wasn't getting a whole hell of a lot of traction. I think it ended up debuting at Gamescom, and yeah, like I said, there wasn't really a lot of stuff going on at Gamescom this year, so this one kind of flew under the radar, but it wasn't until a little guy that you might have heard of by the name of Asmongold reacted to the Gamescom video that the illegal immigration game was promoted and served at its spotlight. They swiftly privated it hours later. You can no longer watch it normally without seeing Asmongold's video. They are covering their tracks and being caught for endorsing illegal activity. And I use the same link Asmongold did, yes, in the video, and you can see it's privated. Yeah, well, okay, I'll just go ahead and take your word for it because there's some screenshots that are right here. So yeah, the illegal migrant simulator is insane. He's watching this and the chat is absolutely laughing hysterically at it. And then you go, oopsie daisy. Yeah, the Gamescom Congress 2025, the video is private. Oh, that's a YouTube screen right there. What happened? Well, Asmongold and Take Us North game controversy explained. Let's take a look. Twitch and Kick streamer Asmongold, yes, has once again garnered attention on social media after a game developer supposedly deactivated its official X account. Oh yeah, that happened too. And after he reacted to the Gamescom 2025 announcement in a YouTube video titled Illegal Migrant Simulator is Insane, Asmongold watched a segment to the Gamescom Congress live stream in which Amina Interactive, Carla Reyes, discussed the game Take Us North. Providing context about Take Us North what it was about, Reyes said, "Hi, my name is Carla Reyes. My pronouns are she, her." I would already be out at that point, but okay. And yeah, I run a little indie studio called Amina Interactive. We're developing Take Us North, which is about migration across the U.S.-Mexico border, which is obviously a very relevant and heavy-hitting topic. But that's why we found it important to talk about now and share a little bit about our behind the scenes in the development of this project, because it's very deeply rooted in research. research. Given how sensitive and complex and nuanced the subject matter is, we want to make sure that we are telling these stories authentically. Not like, having a compelling game and an interesting narrative over the top of it. No. We got stories of criminals to tell. Okay. And that we are, reaching our goal and trying to shift hearts and minds around this. While reacting to Amina, Interactive's segment during Gamescom Congress livestream, showcasing Take Us North, Asmongold voiced his discontent with the project, describing it as propaganda. Well, I mean, you could just go ahead and listen to what she said about this. It's like she's describing it as propaganda. That's not exactly a reach whatsoever. Are they going to research the way that illegal migrants steal the identities of American citizens and then claim their benefits illegally? I wonder if they're going to be talking about that. Oh, geez, yeah. This isn't a game. It's propaganda. Of course, obviously it is. 1,000%, man. A few moments later, Asmongold commented on Carla Reyes, claiming that Americans are reductive to Mexicans by saying they're just stealing jobs. What? Okay, they are in fact, or they are. That's a fact. They're stealing jobs. They're creating more traffic. They overload the social system. They steal people's identities to get government benefits. They steal, obviously, a bunch of other different types of entitlement programs like food stamps. They do jobs for cents on the dollar that should be made for Americans, and they should be improved by automation instead of relying on illegals as a, working class of people. Now, that's the reason why people think that this is because it's true. 1,000%. And circling all the way back around to what Elon Musk had to say about this, Elon Musk chimed in on the matter, asking Twitch streamer if Microsoft was funding Amina Interactive. Is Microsoft really funding this company? Asmongold replied, I'm actually not sure. Well, we got the receipts for that, so we can confirm they are. I don't think it's direct funding, but maybe from a venture capitalist. Well, yeah, 2 of those funds are involved, and a couple of levels of removal from Microsoft instead. Most cynical evaluations equal funded by a group that works with someone at Microsoft Xbox to launder their dumb ideas without damaging the Microsoft brand. But at this point in time, and I got it highlighted right there, Xbox and Microsoft has done wonders this year, laying off just about 10,000 people, and a vast majority of them in their gaming division. Yeah, they're doing it to themselves. There's a reason that there's a heavy rumor that Xbox is getting out of the hardware business, mostly because they can barely sustain their gaming because they keep on pushing shit like Take Us North. So with all that said, I thank you all very much for the gift of your time. I've been Don Consuelo. I want you to follow your gut and get after it. Take care, everyone.